We're here in Franklin, Kentucky for the opening round of the Protect the Harvest Pro Stock Tractor class. Defending champion Brad Moss is back to defend his title. And with the crown, his young buck now has a target on its back. But with the departure of the Boyd team from the category, the class is wide open, and the rest of the competitors will be eager to fill the void. In the Optima Batteries two-wheel drive truck class, Big Ed Red came away with the early points lead after 2 steady rounds. But the Nelsons, Longs, and the rest of the class are poised to fight for the class lead. Stay tuned for the action from Franklin starting now. Truck and tractor pulling. The ultimate test of power. Professional pullers compete using custom-built vehicles with thousands of horsepower to see who can pull a multi-ton weighted sled the farthest. The sled is adjusted for each class to make the competition a fair test of power and driver's skill. There's no practice in pulling. Every decision a team makes before each pull is critical to competing for a class championship. In a season full of highs and lows, teams dedicate hundreds of hours to maintenance, travel, and repair. This is professional pulling with the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the E3 Spark Plugs Pro Pulling Nationals presented by Mack Trailer. We're at Franklin Simpson Park in Franklin, Kentucky with the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League. It's time to sling some dirt around once again. Ken Stout and Leslie Mears here to call all the action for you. The Supermodified two-wheel drive trucks are in the house. And for the first round of the 2015 season, we will also see the Pro Stockers.
It was very interesting to see those Supermodified two-wheel drive trucks come out in Saluda for 2 nights of pulling action, where it was Donnie Sullivan really showing that their team has done a lot of work over the winter, and Big Ed Red is here for battle this year.
Yeah, there were a couple of teams that actually had double podium weekends in 2 different categories, so we'll find out if that continues on here. Willie Make It will kick things off here. Bobby Barbie behind the wheel. Great looking Willies that everybody is so familiar with. We'll put a distance up on the board just short of 300 feet at 298 and 92.
And that's a good run there for Bobby Barbie right out of the box. Didn't make it to that opening event down there in Saluda. But as you can see, the field is stacked. Donnie Sullivan with an early hook. He's the current leader. Bethany Nelson, former champ right there. And then you've got Keith Long in the number 9 spot. And then we're going to round out the class with the team that's kind of holding the championships here with John Mumon after midnight and Jeremy Nelson in Midnight Gambler.
All right, speaking of the Nelsons, Jared Nelson will be up next, and our Terry Boyd has been busy down on the grounds, keeping up with all the action and the latest stories. So meet the third member of our team. Terry Boyd is with Jared Nelson.
Tell you what, Jared Nelson starting off the season on a bit of a roll, a 5th and a 4th place finish in Saluda. And he also has a brand new paint job because he's got new sponsors for the Midnight Revenger. How did this all come together?
It was kind of a long deal that started actually last summer probably, and just kind of joking around, and one thing led to another, and the plan was to do my truck this winter, and then the Boyds, they go big or go home, so it's like, why do one? Let's do them both. So both trucks got new looks, and we're proud to represent the Boyd and Machinery Sons on mine and the Warrior Track brand on the other one. So, and starting out at Saluda with a little bit of a roll definitely was a good thing. You never know with this group of trucks. It's so tough coming out there with a 4th and a 5th on my truck, and a 1st and a 10th on hers is awesome. I mean, anything in the top 10 is awesome anymore.
And he finished 4th on the season last year, so it's not like he's really coming off a bad season last year. Still got some good momentum coming into this year.
Great looking ride for sure, and he put some good numbers up on the board. We'll take the lead here. We'll find out. We are early in the class, but 3, 10, and 15 no doubt is strong.
Man, that looks good out there, and it's especially going to make our officials scratch their head and see if they're going to make some changes to this sled. When your second truck out goes 310, it's the beginning of the night. You can see the sun is still in the sky out there, and as that sun goes down, some moisture is going to come up in the track, and it's probably going to get a little bit better for our remaining pullers out there, so we'll have to see what they do.
The class is very deep and, of course, stacked with talent, but he is certainly one to be reckoned with. And a name that's relatively new in terms of the truck is the Taz toy, Irvin Clark. It's come out and graced us at the first couple of events, chasing points, and a little bit earlier today, Terry Boyd spoke with him.
Irv Clark's a newcomer to the Champions Tour here in 2015. You've been pulling for a long time in the state of New York. What kind of differences are you seeing so far?
Well, one thing I see out here, I mean, the competition level is, there's nothing greater than the competition level here in the Lucas Oil Champions Tour. The guys are all great. The facilities, the promoters, everybody it's a team effort all the way around.
Were you a little bit shocked when you came to that line in Saluda for the first time? You look around, you're like, okay, I'm on the big stage.
It was, you know, it's a little intimidating right out of the gate to you know, stand up with these. We've pulled with these guys a few times over the years, and, you know, we really enjoy each other's company and so on, but to really know you got to come out there and compete head-to-head every week with them, it puts a different thought process behind what you're going to do for your setup, and you really got to go after this hard.
Great to have Irv out here chasing points, and it is just an awesome-looking truck. I love the name of the truck. We'll find out if he has anything for the big boys out here tonight. He's going to lock in just a little bit short here. A lot of hops going on there at the start of that effort, and no doubt it cost him some distance.
Yeah, and as he's bringing the truck up on RPMs, that's really just those tires down on the starting line and that first 100 feet loading and unloading as he's trying to get a good hole shot.
Donnie Sullivan got off to a great start here in the 2015 season. And to round out our team, let's get it down to Crash Gladys.
Hey guys, Big Ed Red behind me here has had a tough couple of years, finishing 14th in last year's points. But to start off this season in Saluda, a second and a sixth place, I'd say, Donnie, you've kind of figured some things out.
We made a lot of changes over the winter. We made a big improvement. We got a new fuel system and moved a lot of things around on the truck. We haven't been very consistent the last few years, and we're just trying not to hit the home run every night and make good, solid runs. But it's early. We've only ran 2 events. There's a lot of good equipment here, but we're planning on being out front with them. We might not be out in the front, but we plan on being to be reckoned with.
And that's an interesting approach for a puller. You know, like you said, he's not going for the win every night because it's a long season out there, and as long as these guys can stay in the top 10, they've really got a shot at the points.
Nice smooth start there, carries the front end nicely, and he is out over the 300-foot mark as well, 3:06 and 11, the mark to beat 3:10 and 15, so he didn't get out there, but he's going to do exactly what he said. He's going to get up there and bang around with the leaders.
And you get a great look at those rear tires as they kind of squat down and wrinkle up and leave that huge footprint as they're digging into the dirt there, cleat for cleat, trying to get down as far as they can.
I mean, the reality of it is, and obviously he understands, he's been out here for a long time, is you're not going to win every one of these events. You can go out here and try to win, which is, of course, what they're all trying to do, but Bethany, I think, is a great example. Won the championship with only 2 wins a year ago. In fact, the most wins on the series was 3 wins, so you're not going to do that, but if you can stay inside of that top 5, pick off a couple of wins along the way, then you've got a shot at a championship. This is our reigning champ, Bethany Nelson. And again, that truck just looks and sounds awesome. 299 and 85 would be good enough for 3rd place as of now.
Yeah, looked like she was a little bit heavy on the nose. Still a good, smooth sailing pass. Still a lot left in the class. Here's a look at your top 3.
Welcome back to Franklin, Kentucky, and Franklin Simpson Park for the E3 Spark Plugs Lucas Oil Pro Pulling Nationals presented by Mack Trailer. We are in the middle of our Supermodified 2-wheel drive category. The Pro Stalkers, the Smokers, coming up a little bit later on. But right now, this is Jim Mattingly. The name of the truck, is Thor. Well, I don't know that that was part of the plan, but the older blue oval Ford Ranger, the old school truck, if you will, kind of slung the door open right at the very end. But nonetheless, he will step up, take over third place at 300.19 as he just squeaks across that 300-foot line.
Lisa Tatum, our next competitor here in Full Throttle. In the inaugural season of the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League, she was the champ back in 2006.
So tough. Her and her father, of course, on the tour for many years now. And weight placement is so critical on these trucks, and you can see these guys are fighting with it just a little bit. They're squeaking further and further forward, though. 301 for her. She actually goes 301 and 64, good enough to take over third place.
And you can see everybody is staying to the right of the center of the track, and she picks a good hole shot there outside of any of the tracks of the former competitors that we've seen so far here in the class. But yeah, Ken, you've really hit it on the nose here. With these trucks weighing in right around 6,200 pounds, that weight placement is key. And when these guys move weight, we're not talking about huge weights like we talk about with the tractors. We're not talking about 100 pounds at a time. We're talking about 50 and 25 pounds, and that makes a huge difference.
We saw Jim Mattingly just a couple of trucks ago, and Thor, the older Ford Ranger that we talked about, the door came over. This is Jamie Mattingly with a brand new Ford, and it looks great. It's called Spike. Digs in hard, and Spike will put 296 and 53 up on the board, a little bit short of what Jim went.
And you can see he lightened up that front end just a little bit from the pass that we saw of Thor out there. So a little bit more movement on the front end, but just not consistent and steady. That front end should dangle out there about 12 inches off the dirt.
Keith Long, certainly one of the names inside of the category. If you were going to guess somebody that could win a championship, he would be one of the contenders. We had a chance to speak with Keith about the commitment it takes to win a championship on the tour.
Well, if you wanted to really run the PPL points, Lucas Oil Series, you've got to dedicate the full year. You don't have the 4 or 5 months off that you think is an off season. You're regrouping, repairing, and trying to build new technology and ideas for the following year. And it's all about maintaining the parts that you have, the spare engines, and different things like that. And then during the summer, it's the the road trips every weekend, and then on the 2-day hooks, of the maintenance between the 2 hooks, and it's quite a bit time consuming, I tell you.
When for the longs, especially with the 2 super modified 2-wheel drive trucks and then the modified tractor, you're looking at easily 6 hours of maintenance on those vehicles if nothing is wrong.
The MAV TV sponsored machine does a great job and charges way out to 309 and 32. Just misses a lead by less than a foot, about 9 inches.
And Keith very patient here on the throttle as you see him kind of wait and wait some more until he kind of goes full throttle, until he makes sure that the truck is completely hooked to the track. It wasn't a very fast pull. He didn't have a lot of momentum, just trying to make sure he could really feel it hook up before he applied all the power.
It's such a difficult thing to come out here. It's really hard to put in words or explain to people who've never chased a championship in motorsports as we take a look at young Grayson Shelton coming out here with the Culp Lumber sponsored machine. Of course, such a rich racing history, a pulling history, I should say, with this family, but it is a full commitment. And if you start the season off behind the 8 ball, if you don't have all your spares ready to go, you will never catch up. It is a vicious, vicious thing to come out here and compete at a professional level. And if you're not ready to chase it, somebody else is, and they will bury you, I promise you that. There is no gimmies out here on the professional tour. 3:03 and 30, a good effort, but not good enough to take over the lead.
And you can ride along here with Grayson. A great look at that automotive reciprocating engine with the 1471 supercharger on top of it. You can see working the individual rear brakes right there inside the cab.
Yeah, and that obviously is the reason for the distance at 3:03. To get up into the top three, you need to be over 3:06 at this point, and unfortunately that didn't happen. But every time you touch those brakes, it costs you a bunch of real estate. All right, there's a look at your top three. We'll be right back to Franklin in a moment. The E3 Spark Plugs Lucas Oil Pro Pulling Nationals presented by Mack Trailer is in effect. We are watching the Supermodified two-wheel drive category. Chris Smith coming up next. It's called Stimulus Package. The distance for the leaders, 3:10 and 15. You've got to get out over the 3:06 mark to get up onto the podium as it stands right now. So that one at 2:99 and 93, just a little bit short here tonight.
And drivers will start pulling out all the stops, making adjustments everywhere to try to get that little bit of edge on the track. Reese Shelton, one of those guys looking for an edge, and he got to speak with Terry Boyd earlier today about his approach to this season.
Reese Shelton was a model of consistency in the opening round in Saluda with a pair of 7th-place finishes. What did you find out after the first couple of rounds?
Not really much. I mean, we're just sticking with our game plan. Last year we got a little away from it sometimes, but it's just all the time. We're just trying to be consistent this year and make good passes down the track.
How much time do you spend with your brother and your dad trying to figure everything out?
Basically, as soon as we come across the scales and get our hitch, then it's all just we're studying the track. We're looking where everybody's running. We're just really trying to nail the setup right on the head, as you can say it. Just that way we can make the best pass we can at the time we have to run.
Yeah, and this young man really knows the ins and outs of his machine. You know, he's the one that runs the valves back at the shop. He's the one that keeps the notebook. He's really all hands on deck when it comes to this truck.
Travis Roffler and the gang from General Tire have been on the side of that truck for a number of years, and rightfully so. It is a very good one, 3:04 and 17. Of course, that truck won a championship with their father behind the wheel, who now competes in the Supermodified category. But these two young boys are stepping right in, no doubt about it, and are a force to be reckoned with.
Here comes the barbed wire machine driven by Wesley Foster.
That one, of course, a great-looking truck for our Mopar fans out there that like the Dodges, and the barbed wire truck comes in at 3:05 and 51, and they are literally just picking away at this thing 1 foot at a time. You constantly say it, Leslie. Looks like they're building a road out here.
And it looks like about half track, he has to hit the brake to bring it back around. So there's some good dirt out there in the middle, and the driver's just maybe a little bit afraid to let it completely float over there to that left side, being fearful that it might just take them straight out of bounds. So they're going to tap that brake a little to keep it in the center. But remember, every time they tap it, 5 to 10 feet off their final distance.
Yeah, and that was huge. I mean, that would have been right there with our leader if that is the case. All right, up next, the other half of the Tatum camp. This is Tony Tatum, father of Lisa, who we saw a little bit earlier on. Lisa Tatum able to go 3:01 and 64. I don't think he had to get in the brakes at all. See what type of dirt he had to get him some good grip, and he goes 3:06 and 21. A really nice effort there, and I believe that was good enough to just get past Donnie Sullivan's 3:06 and 11.
Yeah, he picked up a top 10 finish there at Saluda. So, you know, those seasoned eyes really know how to read a track, just like the seasoned eyes of John Mumaw, former two-time champ here, coming up in After Midnight.
Yeah, and back-to-back championships, which is almost unheard of here in this category. Supermodified finally picks up the nose of that truck late in the effort, and the number that pops up is 3:14 and 83. We have a brand new leader by over 4 feet. That is a big hit late in the class.
And this is one of those long, slow pulls where John Muma really takes his time making sure that the truck is hooked up to the track. And check out this weight placement here. You see the front end dangling off the dirt just a little bit in the front, and then coming up at the end when he needs all the weight of the truck into those rear tires to get him that extra distance to propel him into the lead.
And there is no doubt that truck is making some big steam too, because once that thing topped off, he just kept on chugging. That's that little bit of difference right at the very end. So 3:14 and 83 is the new number. Teammate Jeremy Nelson will be coming up next. We still have some big hitters to come, including Keith Long and Tim Messer. Stay with us. This is the E3 Spark Plugs Lucas Oil Pro Pulley Nationals presented by Mack Trailers. We just had a new leader step up on top of the board, the two-time champ John Muma. 3:14 and 83 was able to get past teammate Jared Nelson at 3:10 and 15. Here comes another teammate, Jeremy Nelson, at 3:09 and 53. The only part of the camp that has not been strong here tonight is a reigning champ, Bethany. Boy, and right out there with the leaders, Jeremy goes 3:09 and 53 to take over third place.
And a great setup here by Jeremy Nelson, because really the only thing that John Muma can tell him about his run is how the track felt. And you see that he's set up just a little bit to the left of his tracks out there and puts in a solid effort, gets after it early enough, goes full throttle right before the 100-foot mark and gets it done.
Yeah, I mean, and it was a great battle as well, as he just snuck by Keith Long, who was at 3:09 and 32. We're talking about 2.5 inches or so was the difference to get up there into that third position. All right, speaking of the Longs, here comes Keith Long in the Riding Dirty truck. And unfortunately, he will not go quite as far as he did with his previous effort in the MAV TV truck. He lays up with a 3:08.02, but two solid efforts for sure.
Interesting here just to see how fat this truck is right off the line, because it's really shooting out a lot of fuel. You would maybe think that there was something going on with maybe like the points box or something like that, because it's just not firing as it should, but still a solid effort here that puts him in the top. Got to be happy as flying new colors here for TS Performance on the Riding Dirty machine this year.
Yeah, inside of the top 5 as it stands right now. We still have one truck yet to go with Tim Messer in the wide open machine. Another very, very strong competitor for sure. The TS Performance sponsorship you spoke of before, of course, they are heavy in our super stock truck categories. Great to have them on board and seeing them sponsor some of the trucks outside of their division. He had a couple of podiums a year ago, and a good effort here at 3:05 and 14, but not good enough to slide into the top 3.
Yeah, he went back to the right side of the track where he had seen so many earlier competitors compete with such success, like Jared Nelson, who found himself in second place. And the Midnight Motorsports crew just really turning it up tonight and really doing a great job as they take all 3 spots on the podium. As you can see, really anybody's ball game out there, but the Nelsons really showing that they and John Muma really have a great team put together early in the season.
Well, guys, it's not often that we've done this. Actually, I don't think we've ever done this, but it is a Midnight Motorsports podium sweep. Hey, we got to say John Muma, Jared Nelson, Jeremy Nelson, 1, 2, 3, and look at John. Nobody supports John. Pretty poor you. Nobody's wearing your shirt. No one loves you.
No, I'm a lone wolf this year, it looks like, because nobody else will support me whatsoever, but you know what? We'll blaze our own trail this time.
Yeah, see, there you go. You're taking the win here. And Jared, you with second place, did you learn anything from anybody else's runs?
No, I was the guinea pig tonight. I laid down a run early and kind of relayed my information and tried to better everybody else. And it didn't work for my wife, but it worked for the rest of them.
Yeah, that's not how it's supposed to work. So you basically gave up the good information for the family. Nice team player there. So Jeremy, what did he tell you?
Well, I'm not going to tell you that on live TV, but let's just say it worked pretty well. So this is a lot better than last weekend, so it's good to have all 3 trucks up here on the podium and get Bethany up here tomorrow night. Maybe we can go 1 through 4.
Okay, you guys know how to play this whole family game. We will get Bethany up on the podium. Midnight Motorsports sweep. I think this is pretty nice for a Friday night.
That is a great group shot for sure, and just ahead of those long boys, so the battle will be on as we take a look at the points.
And this is where you see the top 3 really start to kind of separate themselves from everyone else, because you've got 4.5 positions between 3 and 4. So if they can have some consistency, Nelson, Sullivan, and Mumon can really hold on to that lead.
All right, we're not finished yet. The Smokers are ready to go. It's round 1 for the Pro Stock Tractors. They're next.
The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is brought to you by Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source. Speedco Truck Lube and Tires, built for speed, staffed for quality, delivering world-class value. And by E3 Spark Plugs, born to burn.